Hi everyone, welcome. It's FPLMattDay here, and this is my FPL 24 to 25 season price reveals, ratings, and reactions to the first 20 price reveals that we got yesterday. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button, give the video a like, and get any comments, questions, or thoughts in from what we know so far for the FPL 24 to 25 season. Probably not going to be too far away from the full game launch. I'm expecting it sometime next week once the Euros and probably the Copa America is done as well. Before I start as well, you can see in the banner at the bottom, I'm currently doing some work with Fantasy Football Hub, and you can get a 50% membership with them. It gives you all of these awesome tools for the new season, transfer planners, algorithms, player stats, XG, all of that type of stuff. So go to the link in my YouTube video bio and you can join that way if it's something you are interested in, but no pressure at all. So we'll share screen and I'm going to go through the price reveals we know so far and rate every single price reveal out of 10. So that's 20 price reveals to rate so far and just give you some of my thoughts and reaction to that. And we're going to do it based off the Fantasy Premier League Twitter page or X page. And this is the big ticket item on screen right now. Erling Haaland has come in as the most expensive player in the history of Fantasy Premier League at 15 million. A lot of people, they're not too sure now. They're looking at it thinking 15 million for one player, you get 85 million pound less. Look, we're assuming that you still get 100 million pound budget. I think FPL will stick with that. He's gone up 1 million on last year, 3 million on his original price when he come into the Premier League, and he performed better in his first season than his second, but he was injured for the second season. For me, I think they've done the right thing. He's in so many teams. He's always in 80, 85% plus of everyone's team. He's a captain option most weeks. He's a perma cap. He's one of those players, if you don't have him in a good home fixture for City, he can come out with 3, sometimes even 4 goals and absolutely ruin your rank. So for me, price-wise, value for money, I know he's the most expensive player ever, but for me, it's a solid 9 out of 10 because he is so consistent in this game and for Man City as a goal scorer. So for me, I can see the rationale behind it. I'm giving that one a 10 out of 10. So we'll zoom out here and we will leave that one. And we're going to scroll all the way down here. You're probably going to see a few players and bits and pieces as we go down. We want to start from the very beginning. Still don't know that man's price yet, Cole Palmer. But these were the next price reveals we had afterwards. So let's have a look here. We had Taylor Harwood-Bellis at 4 million for Southampton. Not too many of us know so much about some of these newly promoted players. But I'm going to rate this one on the basis that he will start games for Southampton. I don't know huge amounts about the Southampton side. So if he is a starter at 4 million, you're going to have to rate that one at least an 8 out of 10. Can't get any higher. I know it's an enabler, but he is coming from a newly promoted side. And then we've got Leafa Davis, 4.5 million at Ipswich. This is someone I know more about, a very good attacking Ipswich side. He got a lot of assists last season, a couple of goal returns as well, which is probably why he gets that $500,000 bump for a newly promoted player. And I'm going to give that price, again, an £8 million, 8 out of 10, sorry, kind of price point, just based on how attacking he was in the Championship. And it's probably about right as well. And then the last one, Ricardo Pereira, we know him very well from his time in the Premier League with Leicester last time. Very attacking, does have a tendency to get injured. I think his price is right, so an 8 out of 10. But would I consider him for my team? Probably not at this stage. And that goes the same for a lot of newly promoted players, maybe other than the odd 4 million enabler that we might find. So we'll go back up and we'll see the ones that come out next. The 2 North London teams, Tottenham and Arsenal. We'll start with Richarlison, who come in at £7 million. This is really interesting. He's been reclassified again as a forward. We're not 100% sure if Spurs are going to sign a new out-and-out centre forward. They can't rely on Richarlison's fitness. But when he played last season, he went on an incredible run of scoring goals. So at 7 million, he could be an absolute bargain if he keeps that forward spot. He doesn't get pens, and his fitness is very up and down. But for that price point at 7 million in a team that always tries to score goals and attacks, you've got to look at that 7 million price point as really, really strong if he starts. So pricing only, it's an 8.5 out of 10 for me. In terms of would I pick him from the start, unlikely. Unless he looks good in pre-season and we know he's going to start. And then this man here, Kai Havertz, he's been reclassified now as a forward. Previously was a midfielder, really strong as a midfielder last season. We're not going to see those extra midfield points or clean sheet points that he was getting, but being reclassified as a forward gives you an option to get an Arsenal player in as a forward now. Gabriel Jesus wasn't giving us enough consistency in that position. And I like the price point. He's in a team that wins most weeks. They're going for the league title. I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. I think this is a really, really nice price point for Kai Havertz. So that's the two reveals from the North London clubs by FPL. We'll now go up another 14 more to go through. And we've got one here, Callum Hudson-Odoi. And this is an interesting one because he's 5.5 million right now in that Forest shirt. He has been linked with a move away. And if he gets himself into, maybe a West Ham or someone of that level, and he's in the lineup most weeks, 5.5 million makes him a real good budget enabler. Still gets good points at Forest. So that price point's very generous. I'm going to give him I'll probably say in terms of price point, it's strong. It's good. It's a nice fifth midfielder option when they've got a good fixture and if he gets a big move. So I'm going to put it at 7.5 out of 10, but it could become an 8 if he gets a move to a bigger and better club. And then Semenyo, 5.5 million at Bournemouth, now a midfielder at 5.5 million. If he starts in a sort of a front sort of 2 or 3 for Bournemouth, at 5.5 million as a midfielder, that is brilliant. We've seen how productive he can be. This one is a strong 8.5 out of 10 for me. What a great price point that is. So we've got the expensive one with Haaland, but we're getting some bargains here as well, again from FPL. So price here, there we go. The connection is back. This price point here is absolutely huge. Another big player, Mo Salah, has remained at £12.5 million. A few of us thought he might have gone down. Others, a lot of people didn't expect him to go up. It's tough because now a lot of budget, good start for Liverpool, new manager, attacking, productive manager, progressive football. A lot of money could be going here on big guns like Salah and Haaland early on. It may or may not pay off. We saw Salah was quite patchy last season, but there's no pre-season tournament for him. Let's see how he does look in the pre-season. Let's see if he stays in the league first. I would have given this one a strong rating out of 10 if they brought it down slightly. I know he's still got so many points, but I think there were some weeks when you're paying that money, you need him to be captain worthy, and he wasn't always captain worthy. So for me, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 because I was expecting it to be a little bit better. Not that it's bad, it's Salah. He's the king of FPL. But yeah, for me, it's a 7 out of 10. I just expected it to be slightly less. I do like that it's been stronger, though. They've kept it strong. That is a good thing for the game. That is a good thing for the game. So the next two are a couple of goalkeepers. The highest scoring goalkeeper last season in Pickford, obviously doing very well for England in the Euros. 5 million is an absolute bargain price in a Sean Dyche defence. This is a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Highest scoring keeper, and he's only come in 0.5 more than a 4.5 million goalkeeper. He's going to be a lot of people's number one this season. 9 out of 10. And then Bernd Leno, another one, big points. He's got blocks of good fixtures this season. I think if he was 4.5 million, then this would be really, really strong pick. But even at 5 million, it's pretty good. He's productive, lots of save points. Fulham do tend to keep a few clean sheets as well. So for me, this one's coming in an 8 out of 10. Pickford, though, really, really strong pick for me. So now we'll go to the next reveal. And there's 3 here. And this is one that's on a lot of people's lips. It's a Palmer alternative, I guess. And that's if Palmer stays as a midfielder. We're waiting on that reveal. 6.5 million from Nkunku. Really, really strong goals and assists when he was at Leipzig the season before last year. Did show glimpses last season at Chelsea when he was fit, but that's the biggest problem, is fitness. Is he going to be starting from the very beginning? Is this going to be the season he was supposed to have last season? If he does and he stays fit, that price point for me will end up being potentially a 9.5 to 10 out of 10. And that's not even over-exaggerating. If he can get his stats that he got in the Bundesliga at Chelsea this season and keep his fitness, we could be looking at a 9.5 to 10 out of 10 price reveal rating. And then Solly March at 6.5 mil. Brighton, new coach, always seemed to play good football. Had a nice spell at times with De Zerbi. And I'd probably say 6.5 million is fair and where he's at. Maybe even sort of 6 million as well, because he's productive at times, but he's not productive week in, week out. So I'd say that's just a solid 7.5 out of 10. And then Pedro Neto, very productive footballer, lots of assists, has an eye for goal. Fitness is quite weak, but Wolves keep trying to play good football under Gary O'Neill. They're only going to get better season after season if they keep him in charge. And that is a great price for when Wolves have good fixtures. So that's coming in at an 8 out of 10, in my opinion. So let's go to the next few reveals. And here's another big one for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes, £8.5 million. Penalty taker, runs at midfield for Man United. It's been getting in more advanced positions towards the end of last season as well. Man United are looking to build a stronger squad. They've kept their coach, coming off the back of a nice FA Cup win. This is a 9 out of 10. And people might think it's not the Bruno Fernandes we saw at the start of FPL, but I just think for 8.5 million for, Man United, you don't know how they're going to perform up and down under Ten Hag, but you've got to expect with the money they're going to spend and the players they're going to bring in and believing in keeping Ten Hag that they will improve. And with that, Bruno Fernandes, with his end of season form we saw, I think at 8.5 million, it's a 9 out of 10 price point for me. I really like this pick. So I've had some big reveals so far, and they're only going to get stronger. There's some Salah stats. And here's a couple of big ones that I really like. Mateta from Palace. Huge end to the season last year for Palace. They've got a really good coach that come in. Their form picked up. They have lost Elise, so that could shrink the productivity of Mateta a bit, especially if they lose Eze as well. So that price point might not be as healthy. He's also apparently going to be away for the Olympics, so might miss some of the start of the season for Palace. If we do this on the basis that Palace do lose Eze, as well as what they've lost with Elise, I'm going to put Mateta's price in then on that basis at probably a 6.5, because although he had some massive scores, especially in that double game week, I think over a season it could have we just don't know how consistent or how good Mateta could be. And I feel like 6.5 million probably would have been fair. So I'm going to give this one a sort of 6 to 6.5 out of 10. But this guy, Ivan Toney, 7.5 million in a Brentford side where he takes free kicks, he takes pens. He's looking sharp again in the Euros after kind of taking a while to come into form after his ban last season. But he might get a move to, who knows, maybe a Chelsea, a Tottenham, maybe not Newcastle because they got Isak, but you never know if they want to replace Wilson and get him in there. If he gets that move to a bigger club as the spearhead, as a centre forward, this is a bargain at 7.5 million. I thought Toney, given his FPL history, they might have bumped him up to 8 mil, maybe even 8.5. But last season's obviously brought him down a bit. This for me is a solid 9 out of 10. And if he does get a move to, say, a Tottenham as an example, he will be a must-have. Even at Brentford for me, he is a potential must-have. Unbelievable pick. Probably one of my favourite price reveals so far. We've got more to go through. 2 really, really big price reveals here as well. Jared Bowen stays cheap at 7.5 million. And what I love about this is he's a midfielder who plays as a striker, really. His goal numbers are that of a forward and that of a striker. You know, he gets double-digit returns for goals and assists. This is a bargain. This is a bargain. West Ham, new coach, probably maybe expect them to go a bit more attacking. Although even under Moyes, they were still scoring goals. For me, this price point and his goal and assist returns, this is strong. When West Ham have a good fixture, Bowen, he's the man. This is a 9.5 out of 10. Huge. And then Anthony Gordon, another very productive player. He's had a price bump. I think he was sitting at around that 5.5 million last year, but he become very productive. Injuries every now and then, but for the most part, shakes him off. He's can get assists. He's got an eye for goal, and surely his numbers are going to get better and better as time goes on. And I think 7.5 million is good in a Newcastle team. Probably going to, go ahead, keep Eddie Howe, and look to improve even more again on what was a pretty steady showing last season. I know they had some bad form at some stages. I'm going to give that a solid 8 out of 10. Because I think that 7.5 is, it's a pretty nice price point. So we've still got more to come. Look at this man. Here he is. The England hero, Ollie Watkins. Have a look at that. £9 million. Phenomenal for Aston Villa last season, even the season before. Year in, year out, he's getting better with age. He's getting better as Aston Villa get better. He's going to end up guaranteed to be in that top sort of 3 or 4 strikers. You're going to have your Watkins, your Tonys, Solankis, Haalands. And I think 9 mil is still pretty good. If they'd gone maybe 9.5 or 10, a few people might have thinking, it's out of reach. We've got Haaland, we've got Salah. But I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I think it's pretty reasonable, while still not being too low and being high, but not too high. So that is Ollie Watkins. So we'll go up, and that looks like it's all 20. That's all 20 price reveals. So there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my ratings as well. We'll stop the share screen. Subscribe if you are new here and you enjoyed this video, because there is plenty more to come. Give the video a like as well and get any comments, questions, or thoughts in. Look, I'll leave you all there. Thanks to those that have tuned in. I'll see you all in the next one, and good luck with all of your FPL drafts and team selections once the game opens very, very soon, I believe. I'll see you all then. Bye for now.